Hello and welcome to the U&B Railroad, Ugnaught Lumber and Butternocks Mining. This is what you see in the door as you walk through. And there's my overhead layout. The first thing we built was a kind of a ceiling layout using railroad ties and cedar planks, and it goes just around the room, nothing fancy. And as you come into the room, you can kind of see the overall layout. The first thing you're looking at is the very first bridge I have ever built in my life. This is called Bear Claw Gap. It gaps a small little area there. It's very rough, rugged. This is a very mountainous, foresty, hill-ranged area I call the Wapy-Kashia Forest. And as you come in, you can kind of see the overall ruggedness, the height of the trees. I like to be as real as I possibly can. The average forest is 75 to 95 feet, so that would be about a 45-inch tree, and that's what a lot of mine are. But as you come in and you start walking here, you can kind of see I've got animals all over the place. My grandkids are very good at finding animals and putting them all over the layouts, as you're going to see as we go through it. And you can see an elephant in there, which doesn't belong, but kids are kids. But this is kind of what it entails here. We're seeing the backside of Ugnaught lumber right now, and we're going to kind of walk around here like this, and you kind of get the gist of what this is all about. It is a functionable railroad, which means they've got Ugnaught on one side, Butternocks on the other. They take the raw products to the town of Butternocks, and then they build the main train, or they build the main trains for the main line. But here's the lumber camp. You can see everybody, and then they're kind of having a little hoedown. You can kind of see back there I got a little shower going, and I try to detail it out a little bit. Rabbit cage, and there's a cat down there somewhere, and they're playing their song and doing their thing. And every place has to have potty places, so I've got outhouses everywhere. This is one of them that I built, the very first one I built. It's got it's pretty detailed. It's got toilet paper and pin up and a seat in there and all that kind of stuff. So then these are the two of the workers. They're on break right now. They're kind of enjoying the day. Then as you walk around here, you can see my sawmill. It's pretty detailed. I built the carriage and the sled and everything all by hand. And I've got a little button right here that's a momentum switch that you could hold it, and the saw actually spins. That is a real saw blade, and yes, it does cut wood. And then there's the slash burner, and you can kind of see that it's flickering. I've got red blinking lights in it. Try to put as much detail as I can to it. And as we walk around here, there's Bob the Buffalo. And we come around to the other side of the sawmill. You can kind of see what it looks like inside there. A little detail. And then there's the steam donkey that operates the entire sawmill, and the water tower over there, of course. And then over here is an actual 35-inch waterfall that falls into the log pond that actually goes through a controllable dam. I could spin that wheel and open or close that dam at will. You can see I got fish and scuba divers, and I got a seal and big old turtles and beavers up in there, and kind of a lot of things. And here's the crew working hard to get the lumber out. And the way it works is the crane here picks the lumber up and loads it on the train. Then the train pulls out, and then it backs up and comes around and backs up to the top of the sawmill where the logs are dropped into the sawmill and then processed. And you can see they're starting to cut them down and putting them on small cars to take in town for the main train. And as we go around here, you can see that, there's real water on the log flume as well. There's real water coming off of there, and my eagle flying high. And then way up in there, I got a bridge that, kind of spans the area. That upper layout does not go into the main railroad. It kind of looks like it does in a couple places, but it doesn't. And then we got Lone Wolf McQuaid up there, and you know, Mighty Joe Young, the gorilla, and I got a few other things in here. And now we're looking at the back side of the Ugnaught Jack Daniel's Whiskey Barrel Company. You can see it has a slash burner because they do have a lot of excess wood. They're a little junkyard, and of course they have their own little potty house. And as you can kind of see, everything I build is turn of the century, kind of rugged, you know, just build as you need type of an operation. And here they are loading the barrels, getting ready to ship them out to the market, and you can kind of see all of that. Now if you look back up there at the dam, you see the pipe there. There's real water that comes out of there, but I don't have it on because I got a slight little leak and I need to get that fixed. But it runs down through the little creek through the town, and you know, we got a monitor lizard there, and I got a hippo with her baby, and the creek goes around and goes under a little bridge and comes around like this, and then it exits, stops right there and recirculates. But then right here, we are looking at the front of Morris Beef. This is a place where I worked in high school. Doesn't quite look like this, but I modified it to, you know, fit its need and purpose here. And then again, you know, we got some animation in there. And then as we go this way, you can see that we're on the back side of the Butt-Knot single engine house and workshop. This is the last building. I just finished it. Real water in the water tower there with a couple pigeons there. This is what I use to build all my stuff to look kind of this way. It's all cedar. Primarily 90% is all cedar. And I get my lumber free. I go to the fence companies and get the old rotten cedar that has green moss and things on it, and works real well. Here's kind of their little junkyard here. And then here's the round table. I built this a long time ago, and it does spin around and all that. It's all manual, of course, but it does spin around. And then if you look inside there, you can see that, you know, I'm starting to detail a little bit. I got a handmade fan in there, and the pit, the barrel, the stove. And then if you look over in that area, I built a storage area that I haven't started finishing up yet. Most of the roofs come off on these so I could get into them. And then as we continue around here, you could see the boys' tree house. It's a two-story. It's like one I used to have when I was a kid. And then over here's the back side, or the loading dock of the Butternut or Morris Beef. And if you look in there, you can kind of see the hanging beef in there. And then there's Orville, the Iceman, who puts all the ice in the ice house for him. And then this vehicle right here is the rendering vehicle. It takes the blood and the nasty stuff away, and they turn it into fertilizer and what have you. Then as we come over here, this is called Rotella's Italian Bakery. Maybe some of you are familiar with Rotella bread. He took a little bitty mom and pop bakery and turned it into a worldwide empire. I worked for him for 19 years, and he used to have king pigeons in his backyard, and he kept them in a 10 by 10 loft. So I tried to duplicate this, and because he doesn't have a backyard, it was very common to have them on the roof. Couldn't find kings, so I ended up using fantails instead. But you kind of get the idea of what he did when he was a kid. And then right here is the sand lot. The sand lot is a little baseball field that the kids play in and so forth. And then if you come down here and you read this, this is coming soon, the Butt-Knot General Store, leaving me options. Someday I may build something. This is kind of looking into the Jack Daniel's turn off over here, the tunnel that brings the train into town. And then there's the water tower, the depot, the fueling area. There's a little shed right there for the water tower. And then you notice that they're having a dance Saturday night. It's the Enchantment Under the Sea. Sound familiar? There's the steps going up to the Matty Rose. The Matty Rose is the center of the town. It's the brothel, casino, diner, restaurants, everything is in here, including Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And of course, their little potty house. So this is, like I say, the biggest attraction in town right here. And then right here, this is Larry's Auto Repair. When I first got married, I had a Skelly station called Larry's Super Service, and it was only proper to put one in here as well. Then over here is Dr. Schmoller Painless Dentistry, along with the barbershop and the undertaker. And you can kind of see that the undertaker's busy making something for his latest customer. And then as we kind of move on down here a little bit, you can kind of see that I got a Harley shop. I'm a Harley rider. And then as we move over here, we got the Butt Knot Blacksmith and Wheelwright. It's called Troy's Place. That's the name of my youngest son, and this kind of work he does. But if you look in there, you could see the arc welding and the forges blazing away. Here's his dog, Spiker-Rooney, and his billy goat who eats his leftover metal. Excuse me. Then right here, this is the entrance to Bosco di Giacomo. Bosco di Giacomo is in my website. It's a very long story that I made up about an Italian farming immigrant. And this is what ended up happening to him. He ended up being the pumpkin man of Butt Knot. And he's got his friends up here, the Grim Reaper and Frankenstein and Wanda the Witch. And then way up in there, he's got the Headless Horseman. And you could kind of see that, you know, he's mad at the town, so he steals everything he can, and he brings it up in his elevator. And he steals goats, pigs, chickens, and he slaughters them. And he's killed so many of them that he's got a permanently blood-running little creek that runs all the way down to the main mine. And then as we kind of go around here, we kind of see that this is the Butternox Mining Shaft number 7. This is where the majority of the coal comes from, and it comes up in very large sizes. And then these trains will take it to the processing plant where it is broke down into refined coal for various people, businesses, or what have you. And then as you come around here, you could see my what I call panhandling mules, and you could look into the Butt Knot single engine house, kind of see what I've done in there. This was one of the first ones I built. I built this probably 3 years ago. This one took me probably 3 weeks to build because I didn't know what I was doing, where the one in Butt Knot only took about a week because, you know, you do a lot of them, you get a routine. This right here, this is called the Wapy-Kashia. It's a Native American term for sky bridge that bends. And you can see it's a very long timbered trestle. It's 45 inches high at its highest. It's just a little under 9 feet long. And this whole thing here was my longest project. It took me about 3 months to build this because of the reason I finished all of my scenery here. And then when I started building the back of it, I couldn't get down in there, so I had to use great big long tweezers to glue all the boards and all that. And then you kind of see my pigeons sitting down in there on their nest and all of that. And then off of this bridge, unfortunately, the wreck of number 12 happened. He was backing up one day and the rail broke and all that, and he fell way down there. I don't know how well you could see it, but I'll try and get down in here. You kind of see him in there and some of the debris field, I guess. See what he's doing there. And then as you come around here, you can see that I got a large tunnel that goes down underneath the Wapy-Kashia, and that's a mountainous cave or tunnel that brings you out somewhere, I don't know. But this is what this is all about. This whole center section here just pulls right out. And then as we go around, you can see this is my longest or my highest handmade ponderosa pine, or sequoia, redwood, birch, whatever you want to call it. And I've got about 15 of these, and I really like them. The only thing is you know, they're kind of time consuming. They take, you know, a few hours to make, and they average about $15 to $18 depending on how much asparagus fern I put in it. And then as you look around here, you can kind of see the backside of the coal processing plant and all the spurs and everything. And you get an idea of what this bridge actually consists of right here. It was a lengthy process. And then right up in here, this is the steam donkey that powers this dynamo that provides electricity for the power plant. And then underneath there you can see him loading and the scale and everything that I put together. So as we walk around here and we come into Butternocks Junction, you can see the water tower, the coal tipple, the sand area, and we've also got a storage tank for diesel fuel because the one little switcher down at shaft 7 is a diesel, or oil burner I should say. It's not a diesel, it's still steam but it burns oil. And then as we come around here, you know, bears, more bears, a lot of bears. And you can see the back side, and the back side is, there's the water tower and the little pump house, and you can see that, you know, it's pretty high, you know, it goes up, everything's lit up. Here's the sanding area, and here's the little diesel area. And then as you look back in here, you can see like the little work junkyard, whatever, for the Butternocks processing plant. And then here's the backside of the Forest Ranger's house, where Hank Hill, sound familiar, is the main individual who runs the Forest Ranger's area. There's his vehicle, he's ready to go with water tanks and what have you. And here's a little crew that's getting ready to go out and do a little track repair. And the junkyard, you know, it's got some junk and stuff in there. And there's Cletus coming out. I think he's got to use the bathroom. And then as you go around here, you kind of see there's some bears and elk and another bear, and you kind of get an idea of how tall these are. You know, they kind of go to the ceiling. I took John Allen's idea and used floor-to-ceiling scenery. I think it gives a lot of character and depth. And then as you kind of look around, I'm at the end here, you see my overhead, and you can see that it's just, you know, primarily spikes that I welded you know, bolts on the end of it, and just screwed them into each stud, bring it around here, get away from the light, and it does pull about a 13 car layout, and it just goes round and round. That's pretty much the Ugnaught Butternocks Railroad. But the last thing I wanted to show you was, this is what I thought I would do. I've been looking and looking for a shelving display, and I was ready to spend about $600 when the idea hit me, why not just make what I already have and use railroad spikes and you know, cedar fencing. And I made a 5-layered shelf, which serves my purpose. It works real well. But this is it. This is what I've done. Again, I started in November of 2010, and this was the last building I finished, June 17th, 1:20 in the afternoon. I finished it all up, went up to lunch, and called it complete. I've got detailing and things like that left to do, but I appreciate you looking at it. And if you got any questions or feedback, I'd love to hear from you. It's the first railroad I've ever completed from start to finish, and it's the first website I ever built. So if you've got something to say, or you know, need any information or anything, and if I could help you in any way, I'd be more than glad to. But do stay in touch. I would appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you.